Hey, it's Dr. Shern, EMHC, and this is your weekly dose of empowerment. All right. So, just like the last time, I'm just going to go full dose because this is something that is near and dear to me. And that is this idea of not waiting for people to give you the green light. Right. So, you don't have to wait for people to give you the green light. Now, you do have to prepare for whatever it is that you are wanting to do in life, but you don't have to wait for people to give you the green light. Okay. Best way to think about this is, so let me use myself, because who do I know better than me? um, Many times, right? So there are many areas in my life where I was searching for things. Okay. So very early on, one of the things that I wanted to do was get into music. So I would write raps, pretty good at it, in fact. But getting into the music industry it wasn't just like this. You got nice bars and we're gonna open the door. There are people that are in places that determine who gets in, right? So there you can call them the gatekeepers. So let's call the people who hold the keys the gatekeepers. And so in order to get certain things, you have to do certain stuff and you have to wait for people to tell you it's your time, right? And so after a while, I'm like, well, nah, I can't do this. I got a family and stuff, so I need to, you know, pursue that and find another space. So I said, okay, I'm going to go. So waiting for people to give me the green light, right? Instead of now, it's a lot of people going independent. But back when I was doing music, independent wasn't a surefire way. The only way to do anything successfully was to have one of be in the majors, right? Um, Very few people was successful at the independent thing, right? So that wasn't happening. That wasn't working out. I decided to go to another space, right? I'm married now. I'm in, living in a new space. And now I'm like, okay, I shift. And I say, you know what? I want to do something. I want to have impact, but I want to, what is a space where, there's not a lot of representation by minorities? And so I said, let me get into law enforcement. And so I'm pursuing that, right? Not now, right? So it's a bunch of yellow lights. I finally get in, but it wasn't at the space and in the area that I wanted, right? So, I started off working in the jail. I wanted to be on the road. Again, they kept, not now, not now, not now. These people that were, kind of the gatekeepers, so to speak. Again, the gatekeepers. So I do that, then get in, but now I'm in a different space. I'm in a different area, different location, and I'm trying to do things still. Not now, not now, not now. Everybody is telling me to hold, 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 hold. But what wasn't told to me was prepare. What do you need to do to prepare? Hold on, but go through this preparation. Okay. So I'm not knowing this. I just keep going back up, going back up, going back up, and getting frustrated at the process and actually, the way that things were looking, right? So it's a pretty daunting thing to do and have to do and go up and go up and go up. So eventually I get in and I want to say that it had to do with the amount of time that it took me to get in and get on to the road as a road cop, beat cop as they call it, that created the displeasure with it, right? It Once I got it at that point, it took so much energy that and then I noticed that there was still like the impact that I wanted to have, I wasn't able to have. So, so that led me to, this is not my lane. So now I'm looking, okay, how can I have impact that's bigger? So I said, okay, I'm gonna apply to be an agent. Again, not now, not now, not now. Bunch of red lights. I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so am I not good enough? Right. So that's the thing. You start reflecting on yourself. Are you not good enough? And it had nothing to do with whether or not I could do the job. I could. Whether or not I had the skills, I did, and I do. That lane wasn't for me. But at the time, no, I had no one to say, prepare, pull back. What do you really want to do? Okay. So I want to have an impact. So I'm going for all these things, trying to have an impact because ultimately that's what I wanted to do. So now, after a few failed attempts of that, oh, not to mention, trying to get in the military and serving and all of that stuff. So I'm making all kinds of attempts to have impact and be a part of something bigger than myself, constantly getting told no, doors closed, gatekeepers not letting me in. So going through all of this struggle, and then finally I say, all right, let me go. Now this particular iteration I didn't stay long with, but try long tried to be a lawyer. So I'm going up and I said, okay, let me do some law school stuff. Let me try law school. I did that, probably I made like maybe 4 attempts. I said, you know what? Nope, this is not it, because it costs money every time you apply. It costs money. You got to spend money for the application. And so I said, okay, nope, that's not it. I'm in a new space. I'm in Maryland where I live now. Um, and so I'm like, okay, so this was the first time that now I began to step back and say, okay, so what do I have? What skill set do I have? And I started looking, and I said, at this time I had a master's in forensic psychology, and in Maryland, doing some research. I said, you know what? I've always been curious as to what causes people to do things. Right. So that started it. And I started looking into um, what what it would take to be a psychologist. Now, you could be a psychology associate, but your license is forever tied to someone saying, I sign and I support, I endorse their license. And I know me. So I say, no, I need to find another way where I could be licensed independently. But I don't want to spend, to get in the field, I don't want to spend another 5 years in school. So how can I do this? How can I get in? So I started looking and I said, oh, okay, counseling. And I looked at all of the stuff, and it mirrored a lot of what would happen to be a psychologist. And so like, okay, so I pursued that avenue and haven't looked back since. But all the while, still, doing things, going up for things, because I was still working. And that was another factor. It's like, this area is really expensive to live, and that was, back in 2013. So inflation has caused things to go up even more. And so, the cost of living in this area is expensive. So I can't just exit the workforce to dedicate myself to school. And so it's like, okay, now again, I'm assessing. All right, going this route. And now what I'm doing, what I did was I said, I'm finding this lane for myself. I'm not going to just try to go where everybody is, but I go and I make a lane for myself. And when I say that, what I'm talking about is statistically, in the mental health space, there are not, there's more minorities than it used to be, but it's still not a lot. And then when you add the fact that I am a male, a black male, that makes me even rarer. So now I'm not waiting. I've created a situation for myself where people want to work with me because, right? Because of I represent something in this space, in this profession that may not be attainable to them, that they maybe didn't think was attainable to them, right? So I've been called a unicorn, and it wasn't a disrespectful way. It was saying that I'm unique, I'm rare, and that being said, what am I saying? I'm not waiting for people to give me the green light anymore. I created a lane for myself. So from that to being a business owner, now I'm in a space to be the gatekeeper and to let people in. No longer waiting for the green light. I control the light. And the problem with a lot of people when they have the gatekeeping. They think of gatekeeping as solely for the purpose of keeping people out, and it's not keeping people out. If I focus on that, then I continue to look at where they're doing wrong. I'm switching it, and I'm saying, how can I support the people that really want to be in this space? Maybe they don't necessarily have the skills or the training or the supervision or somebody that will handle them in the way that's necessary for them to grow and create the soil. So now you might not be you might not have a desire to be in a mental health space. But what I encourage you to do is figure out where that passion of yours lies. Doing that, right? So I'm be honest, it from from the time that I entered and started thinking about career stuff to the point where I'm at now, it's been over 2 decades. But it could have, if someone would have sat me down and said, what is it that you want? And I say, okay, I want to have an impact. And then they walk me through, okay, impact where? How exactly do you want to influence people? Right. Now, entertainment is crowded with people. I wouldn't have been a unicorn. So now if you see, people are really um trying to do things to stand out, color their hair, do all kinds of crazy stuff, get it, stay in the media, right? Because now you have to stay top of mind, you have to stay controversial in order to stand out. Otherwise, you know, you're in a sea of fish with everybody else looking like you. Um, in this space where I'm at now, it's different. Now, again, sit and say, what is it that you want? If where you are is not that thing, then, I'm not saying to stop trying to promote or advance, but you got to understand that you're going to have an emptiness. Right? You're going to have a space that you just don't feel fulfilled. You don't experience yourself as contributing or living up to your standard. And if you continue to try to get into places it's because it's a well-worn path, you got to understand that there are people there that it is in their best interest to keep you at bay or make it really hard for you. So stop waiting for people to give you the green light. You do not need people to co-sign for you to do things, for you to be great. And a lot of the time we put that on other people. Say, you trying to keep me from being great? Nah, not really. Maybe they are trying to keep you from being great where they are because, you know, they're not that great themselves and they don't want you to outshine them. But if that's not your jam, if that's not where you really want to be, and then okay, don't put your energy towards that. Reshift, refocus, go forth. All right. That said, I know this is a little bit longer than all the other doses, so it takes a little bit longer to get the injection right. Probably stop using that medical term like that, but um, really, it just takes a little bit of time because I want to walk you through. This is something that for me um, was even now I'm discovering more about this and how, all these years, like I said, it was 2 decades, over 2 decades, um, from, the time that I wanted to enter music and be a rapper and stuff like that to where I'm at now. It's well over 2 decades. It's, in fact, we're probably pushing closer to three if if we encompass everything, right? So don't wait for people to co-sign for you. Don't wait for people to give you the green light. Evaluate that path. If that path is well worn, it's understand that it's going to be really difficult. And so if you what's the purpose of, or what's the point of spending a lot of energy trying to break into a well-worn position and break into a well-worn path when you can create your own path, right? So thank you for checking me out for this weekly dose of empowerment. Like, subscribe, comment below, all of that stuff, and you will stay on the cusp of what I'm doing, what I'm releasing. These are some heartfelt videos for me, some things that I'm really passionate about. So I just want to share that with you, share that energy. And I look forward to seeing your comments, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.